Yes, up all night. There are dark times ahead for the candidates at 9. And before that, turning an unused roof space into the perfect garden for the Great Ormond Street Hospital. A special DIY SOS at 8.
Hi there, welcome to The One Show with Alex Jones.
And Aria Duba, who's cutting into a Strictly rehearsal schedule. Thank you.
Sure.
Because Matt is already with Team Rickshaw on the eve of their big trek south. Now, here they are, look, at the beautiful Jedburgh Abbey in the Scottish borders. And we will be catching up with all of them very, very shortly.
Good to see them wearing their ears.
They must be freezing.
Very cold. Warmer here. Now, tonight's guest has been on an amazing journey himself, hasn't he? Since breaking into the charts in 1958, he's gone on to sell, count them, 250 million records worldwide.
Now he's back doing what he does best after a couple of years that, understandably, he would prefer to forget.
Please welcome Sir Cliff Richard. Great to see you, Cliff. Great to see you.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Now, we have to say...
Did you hire the crowd?
I was going to say, we have hit the fire safety regulation limit.
Just for you.
In the studio. If it all goes wrong, we'll be crisp.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are so many people here.
Charred.
Nice to see you, Sir Cliff. Lovely to have you with us.
Too. Look at that.
They're still there. Wave to them, Cliff. They love you too.
Yeah.
No room for these people outside, poor dabs. Now, have you caught up with Strictly this year?
Briefly.
OK.
I spend so much time away now. I miss a lot of good stuff on television, but I have seen you.
Well,
Thank you.
He's quite the mover, I think you'd
Quite
agree.
the
Let's have a
mover.
look.
I tell you what, you should take up giving lessons.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'll join the class.
Well, that's your drive, and I think he's taken inspiration from you, to be honest.
What do you think? I mean, what I'm missing, though, Cliff, is the neckerchief. That would have been, if I could just have added that.
But you say that, I mean, you are quite the dresser. I mean, we can see that tonight.
My wife picked it out.
Look at this. Dressing gown is amazing. And then we've got Cliff doing a bit of leopard print.
Yeah. Can I thank you for lending me the robe?
Pleasure.
Cliff,
I got more like them.
Have you?
Yeah.
We should have a little sleepover. We can share some of this stuff. We should share this stuff.
Why not?
Now, we'll be talking to Cliff about how he's come through his difficult 2 years and his brand new album, his 102nd, I couldn't believe it, throughout tonight's show. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Really lovely to have you. Now, the new significantly lower benefits cap came into force on Monday with a warning from charities like Shelter that more households will now continue to struggle to keep a roof over their heads.
It piles more pressure on councils already finding it hard to provide temporary housing for those in crisis. And Lucy has uncovered an example that will have you scratching your heads in disbelief.
Tony Roberts and Jelena Stevic are having a busy afternoon. They're delivering advice sheets to all 74 homes on the St Michael's Gate estate in Peterborough.
We're going around the houses, finding out if people have received the letters.
Because each and every one of them has been told they've got to move out, and all so the council can house the homeless.
We're just coming round with newsletters.
Here in Peterborough, the council's bill for housing the homeless has risen to over £1 million a year. In fact, there's so little spare accommodation that they've had to resort to putting people up in the local Travelodge, where each room costs £600 a week. Property developer Stephen Phillips bought up properties in the town and offered to house the homeless more cheaply. But needless to say, the people already living in these properties were not so keen on the plan. Beverly Nichols has called her rented house her home for 10 years now, but that was turned upside down one morning when she picked up her post.
It was literally a white envelope with this notice of possession in it. No covering letter, no explanation, no reasoning behind it. These are quite frightening documents. You know, your first reaction is, oh my God, I've got 2 months to leave my property. What on earth am I going to do?
What has it been like living here?
It's a fantastic place to live. It's really quiet, it's really peaceful. It's a very, very close-knit community.
So in this slightly bizarre arrangement, You could, theoretically, be moved out, become homeless, and then be rehoused here at some point.
Theoretically, we could actually be returning to our own homes.
As private tenants, the people here are being given notice that their tenancies won't be renewed as they expire. Neither the new owners, Steph and Phillips, nor the council has done anything wrong. According to the charity Crisis, the number of households in England asking their local councils for housing reached 275,000 last year. Adrian Chapman is Communities Director at Peterborough City Council.
We would spend in 2017-18 almost £2 million on accommodating households in bed and breakfast accommodation. The financial package that Steph and Phillips has offered the council reduces that burden to just about £100,000. So a significantly attractive financial offer for a local authority that's faced with such a huge pressure on its budget.
We have a situation here where in order to address homelessness, you are going to make people homeless.
Frankly, we feel backed into a corner on this. We desperately need temporary accommodation. The company have spotted a potential business opportunity, but the reality here is that those properties are currently occupied, and that's the bit we really struggle with. But we have no choice.
I can really understand your regret. I feel it is so genuine. There's waves of regret about this. However, councils are supposed to be leaders. Why not show some backbone and turn this down? Because that is ostensibly what councils are supposed to do.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. We need, as a local government sector, to pull together and not accept arrangements like this. If we all say we're not prepared to accept these kinds of arrangements, we'd certainly feel a lot more confident about walking away from a deal like this.
Ironically, the council is now helping people in St Michael's Gate to find new privately rented homes and the deposits they'll need to secure them. But that cuts no ice with Tony, who's hoping to fight back. Do you actually think that you could reverse this?
I don't think it's ever too late. I mean, we're just going to keep fighting until there's nothing left, to fight for.
Caroline Worth and Joshua Edwards live here with their 5-month-old daughter Phoebe. How are you feeling at the moment?
Exhausted, frustrated. I do think we're going to have to end up just moving to another city and starting from scratch. There's so many buildings they could do up and move people in, and that would probably solve the majority of the homelessness.
I try to contact Steph Phillips. I'd like to talk to somebody, if possible, about the St Michael's Gate development in Peterborough. We have left a couple of messages and we haven't heard anything back. And I still haven't.
This is all about money and moving figures about from one page to another so that it looks good on paper. Well, we're not bits of paper, we're not figures on paper, we are real people, and this is a real issue here.
Against the backdrop of a national shortage of affordable homes, many local authorities say they're between a rock and a hard place. But surely by this point in the 21st century, we should have come up with a better way of tackling homelessness than chucking other people out of their homes.
Really uncertain time for a lot of people, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Especially with the council, who aren't really quite sure what to do. Well, the Local Government Association, the body that represents most of our councils, has told us that a third of new homelessness cases now emerge from a private tenancy ending. While the government said it's investing more money into building new affordable homes than any government since the 1970s. There you go.
Now, Cliff, we have to say that this is all a little bit awkward, right? Because we've never had a guest on the sofa that's suing the BBC. Some people try and sue us after the show, but never before.
Yeah, it happens, it happens.
And some people watching tonight will be thinking, well, how come is he on the sofa? But what's your relationship with the BBC like at the minute?
I'm here, aren't I? I mean, the BBC to me is the one show. It's the radio shows I listen to. I listen to all over the world. I listen to Today programme, The Archers when I can catch up with
love
it.
The Archers.
My relationship with the BBC is fine.
Yeah,
well, thank you for being with us tonight.
Exactly.
But
You are the BBC.
Here we are. Who's happy to see
We'll be glad to have you, Cliff.
We'll go on, a bit of a shimmy. In all seriousness, though, the 2 years must have been torturous for you. Did you think it would take 2 years to clear your name?
No, I didn't really, because it was not true. The accusation was an absurd accusation. I thought it can't last very long. But the 2 years was a bit of a problem, and you never feel as though, you feel like you're in a hole, and no matter how much you're loved, and my fans, my family, my friends, in the end you go to bed at night and you're on your own again, and you can't help but think, how do I get out of this? How do I escape from this emotional trauma? And it's very hard. Paul Gambaccini said to me, really, unless you go through what we've gone through, it's impossible to explain what it's like. I don't have the words to explain it. So it was a terrible, terrible 2 years, but it's over.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So what
It was lovely to hear you say that, you know, the anger passed quite quickly because you didn't feel there was any point in it. But did you ever doubt that you'd be able to be back performing and doing what you do best?
I thought that even after a few months of it, I thought, I'm not quite sure if I can ever be the same person again.
Yeah.
Because they have these old adages like there's no smoke without fire. And then I read somewhere, the guy said, yeah, but nowadays we have smoke machines. And it's true. You don't have to have a flame to make smoke. But even then, it still made me feel, I don't know, how can I possibly get back and be doing all the things I've always done? But, you know, it's like looking at it now, it seems to me, I'll never get over it. I will never, ever forget those 2 years. But I feel like I'm past it, and now I can look to the future and sort of head in that direction. So everything for me at the moment is incredibly positive. And so, and as I say, you know, I'm doing things now that I've put off for 2 years. And I didn't speak about it for 2 years. And so now, I mean, at least I get the privilege of speaking and pouring my heart out to millions of people by coming here and talking about it. But even that will disappear. And what helped me was forgiving. I woke up the second day when I got back to my home in Portugal. I went to bed and I woke up at 3:15 a.m. and I woke up really thinking, I don't think I can do this if I continue to have vengeance and hate. So I just said, God, you know, you're going to have to, I want to forgive this guy. So I said, yes, okay, I forgive him. And you know what? I felt such an ease because, you know, even though he didn't know I'd forgiven him, I mean, he's going to have to ask God to forgive him. But I forgave him, and therefore I didn't feel any animosity anymore.
No.
And even now, you know, I can't feel hate.
No.
I would like to understand one day why people do this. Simple as that.
I mean, your fans have stuck with you through thick and thin. Your family and friends, of course, would have supported you at that time, and you are looking forward because you're looking to change the laws, aren't you, with people who are accused of crimes like this?
It's nice if we could get it changed so that there's no collateral damage. You know, I feel like I was collateral damage. Of course, if an accusation is made, it must be taken seriously, but it shouldn't be at the cost of making that the accuser is assumed guilty, because, you know, the Magna Carta actually says that every single person in our nation, all of you, all of us, are innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. We're only saying just give people anonymity, unless, of course, you can charge them.
Yes.
So even that's really not good enough, really. You should actually wait till you're prosecuted, till you get that sentence. You are guilty, then you're named. But you know, we fight steps at a time, and I think it's only fair that the false accusations should be dealt with that way. And of course, you don't know they're false until everything.
No.
It's a great idea, because once they feel they have enough evidence to charge you, then that's the time to let it out. And a lot of people say, well, if you don't name people, then other people won't come forward. And I say, well, OK, well, then wait till we're charged. That means they've got enough evidence to prosecute you. So then that's all we're asking. It's
well,
nothing.
Good luck with that. And cheers to the future.
Oh, thank you. Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Sorry, everyone, we'll fill up your glasses in a minute. Now, there is no question that Cliff has had a long and successful career. We'll be talking about your new album and the tour very shortly. But I'm sorry about this. Your 58-year span has been dwarfed by the start of our next film.
Yes, a star whose performances aren't quite as polished, it has to be said. You could even describe them as wooden, really. But Patrick is transfixed.
At the heart of Nottinghamshire's Sherwood Forest stands one of our oldest trees. the 1,000-year-old Major Oak. Affectionately known as the Major, this legendary tree became famous during Victorian times as the imagined hideout of Robin Hood and his merry men. Now, the Major's ancient core is hollow, eaten away by fungus, and its branches are so big and heavy they have to be propped up with giant stilts. But its gnarled bark is the perfect winter shelter for thousands of tiny insects, and a nest for a family of jackdaws. By mid-May, after a long rest, the Major begins to wake. 500,000 leaves open in just a few weeks. Like solar panels, they use the sun's energy, making sugars that the Major needs to stay alive. Some of this becomes food for its lodgers. Winter moth caterpillars gorge on the leaves, and they in turn feed blue tits. By late summer, the Major has stored enough energy to begin production of the next generation of oaks. Acorns sprout from every branch. These tiny capsules, packed with fat and protein, contain everything needed to make a tree. By autumn, they're ready to fall. But only a few will survive long enough to become trees, because the Major is a magnet for hungry squirrels. Squirrels bury acorns in secret caches, food stores for the winter. But fortunately for the tree, many are forgotten. Buried safely beneath the ground, they germinate in peace. As the winter approaches, the Major once more prepares to sleep. The acorns of this famous tree are so precious that they are carefully collected and sent around the world to be planted. The Major Oak is nearing the end of its life, but its descendants live on. Perhaps one of them will last for another 1,000 years.
Oh, we enjoyed Major Oak, didn't we, Cliff?
Fantastic. How old is it, did they say?
Yeah, 1,000 years.
Oh, so nice to talk about something that's older than me.
Cliff, come on. Hey, do you know, let's talk about your music, shall we?
Yeah.
Because we've got a new album out, Just Fabulous Rock and Roll. It's a return to the music that you love, including a re-recording of your very first single.
Well, I mean, you know, rock and roll was, it gave birth to a lot of careers, and mine was one of them. When Elvis first came on the scene, all my friends wanted to be Elvis, as I did, and some of us got lucky, you know. But it's when I record this type of music, it's completely within my zone, and it's not difficult to do it, and I'm sort of been writing about it too. What happened was, in those early days, we weren't very accomplished musicians. I mean, we could barely get past 3 chords. But if you look at some of the rock and roll stuff, that's all it took. 3 chords, and you could sing your heart out. And then, of course, we stretched it to an A minor, which made it 4 chords in the key of C.
Oh, that's
and so
nice.
it's
Really
grown.
pushed the boat down.
It's grown and grown. So making this album, and of course, I've been recording in Nashville for the last 4 albums, I think. There's something about being amongst musicians who just love to play. Anything. They do jazz, they do everything in Nashville. And I met this band and a good producer, Steve Mandel, and you get there and you say, OK, what is it? You play them the track, they go, OK, 3/4, and they're off.
Fantastic.
That's unbelievable. So I've had great fun doing these albums.
And you mentioned Elvis, and on your 102nd album, you got to perform with Elvis, so to speak, in the end. Let's have a look at this now, then. Let's have a listen.
That's me. Elvis.
that you never met him, which was a right shame, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd love to have met him. I gave up on... One time I met a journalist when I was presenting Devil Woman in the States. And this journalist said, oh, I know Elvis, and you're a big fan? I said, yeah. He said, well, what about if I... Do you want a photograph with him? I went, yeah. He said, well, let's go to Vegas. I'm thinking, oh, go to Vegas. Anyway.
Shame.
Anyway,
oh, so you got it.
Elvis was at that stage, as you know, he had put on a lot of weight. And I said to this guy, look, I said, he makes albums, films every now and then. And when he does, he goes on a diet and he comes back to looking like the animal Elvis again. And I said, I'd rather have a picture like that on my refrigerator door. So I gave up the idea, and I wish I had just gone. If ever you want to meet anybody that you really like and love, for some reason you think, oh, maybe I'll put it off, don't put it off.
No.
Yeah.
I would love to have said, yes, I did meet him.
Even in his bigger stage.
Yes, even then.
Well, you've made some dreams come true on this album for yourself anyway. You've got a tour coming up, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
Right, OK.
You know, the album's... No, you can't have bought the album yet because it's coming out. It's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's coming out tomorrow.
What you do have, though, is a calendar.
Yeah.
You've got these out. You've got these out.
Now, I've got my Cliff.
What about that guy?
I've got my Cliff diary, which I love.
Oh.
OK. And if we flick to June...
Yeah.
Yes.
We will see that you are on tour in some beautiful places around the UK. I've noted, see, Cliff.
That's a cliff.
However, the 23rd, which is a Friday, is free. Now, this is also the same weekend as Glastonbury.
Oh,
so it's Emily Evis
There's
who
a space
organises...
for you there, Cliff.
Oh,
right there.
What would you say then? What do you reckon? Would you headline?
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I mean, I just think I read somewhere that they said I would like to. He would love to do Glastonbury. Well, I haven't been asked, and the only thing is, I always think about what I'm going to do. So if I was asked, I would give it serious thought, because sometimes you want to be sure that you're in the right place. That you're the right type of artist. Would I put them off? Would they not like me?
This is the idea, Cliff.
Pardon?
This is you, Glastonbury 2017.
Enjoying the mud.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, do you know what? I think the Sunday would be perfect for you at Glastonbury, but we'll see what happens.
Okay,
A
well...
lot of people would agree. Wouldn't they agree? Absolutely. Cliff's album. Just fabulous rock and roll is out tomorrow. If you want to see him on tour, tickets go on sale 10 o'clock Monday morning.
Thank you so much, Cliff, for being here. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you
by the way,
tonight.
there's pre-ticket sales on Saturday and Sunday for the fans.
There you are.
Full weekender, everybody.
There you
Full
are.
weekender.
They will lap that up. OK, it's time now to check in with Team Rickshaw. And, Matt, you've got 6 teenagers to get out of bed tomorrow on what could be a very cold morning. But you're starting the challenge in a spectacular place. What a lovely abbey.
Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, this is Jedburgh Abbey, and as you say, Alex, what a place to start this year's Rickshaw Challenge. We have to say a very big thank you to Historic Scotland for allowing us to start it all off here. It's very, very fragile, this place, and we promise that we won't break it, but no, it's been a place of prayer since the 12th century, and I have got 6 young riders in here who are praying for good weather, and they're praying for lots of downhills. Let's meet them, shall we? It is, of course, Team Rickshaw. Here they are. Here they are. It's definitely happening. It's definitely on. How are we all feeling in general?
Very well.
Very good, very good.
A bit chilly.
Bit chilly. It is a bit nippy up here. It apparently gets warmer as you get down south. So they say. Anyway, Phoebe, let's bring everybody up to date with what's been going on today, because we've had quite a nice afternoon, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We've just been sitting round together, chatting up, and looking through our kit and going through the room.
How big is that bag of kit?
Very big.
It's absolutely massive. Now, the thing is, of course, we need to keep warm as we're travelling 474 miles. Put your fingers over your ears, Ebony, and not those ones on the top. There we are. Yes, it's a long way. Let's just have a look at the map, show everybody at home where we're going so that people can come out and join us along the route. So from here, we're heading down to Newcastle and Gateshead, and then we're off to Hartlepool, and then Scarborough, and then Hull, and then Skegness, and then Kings Lane. It doesn't stop there. We're on to Duxford, and then we are going to London, hopefully by next Friday. Fingers crossed, everything will go smoothly. Oh, now, Ebony, last night your film went out on the One Show, and it had a wonderful, wonderful reaction. What was it like to see yourself on telly?
It was really emotional, and
bit overwhelming to see myself on TV.
Yeah, OK, well, listen, we've talked a little bit about the kit. Can we just see Ebony's socks down here as well? Because look at this. Of all the stuff that we've got, look at those lovely Pudsey socks. Now, it's not just the 474 miles that's a pretty scary prospect on this rickshaw challenge, because all of the riders here, they have to get up in front of a massive crowd and deliver a speech as to why they are riding. And Andy here went first. Andy went off to the Royal Albert Hall for the Children in Need Rocks for Terry concert, and this is what happened.
I'm feeling very excited now. Obviously, just arrived and had a look around. It's amazing.
He's really tried to learn the speech well, and hopefully everyone will give him a really good reaction.
I've had a dancing lesson with Anton.
And now we're going to twirl. I think you're an absolute superstar, and well done you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can I have a round of applause for Ellie Goulding, ladies and gentlemen? Ellie.
We're here to have fun tonight, but we're also raising money for children in need. And with me, I have a young man who is making a special effort. Please welcome Andy Davis.
I've always been a keen sportsman, but 4 years ago, things changed. I was told I had acute myeloid leukemia, a type of blood cancer. A bone marrow transplant would make my chances much, much better. Thanks to the generosity of my bone marrow donor and the amazing work of Sheffield Children's Hospital, the transplant worked. Now, I'm 3 years clear of leukemia. The journey back was a long one, but I was helped by the Ellen MacArthur Cancer Trust. They're supported by children in need, and they run sailing trips for young people affected by cancer. This year, I'm riding on the Rickshaw Challenge to help raise money for other great causes. It really will change lives for the better. Thank you.
That was brilliant. Well done.
Andy, all those eyes were on you there. In a quick word, what did that feel like?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Best experience I've ever had.
Well, listen, of course, we need a rickshaw to ride. We're all here in anticipation, so shall we bring it on? Yeah? Let's bring it in. Here we go. In true Jedburgh tradition, we've got the heralder up there, so if you would like to blow your horn, my friend, and then hopefully the rickshaw will appear. Here it is. Now here is the Callant. They're almost the border force of Jedburgh here up on the Scottish borders. Then we've got the right-hand man and the left-hand man, appropriately on the right hand and the left-hand handlebar. So there we are. The rickshaw has arrived. Ross, how are we feeling about the mode of transport?
Very impressed.
You're impressed? Good. Well, we need a lot of leg power and we need a lot of support from you at home as well. So if you are feeling generous and you would like to show your support, all you have to do is pick up the phone. You don't have to cycle. If you would like to donate £5, text the word TEAM to
70405.
If you would like to donate £10, text the word TEAM to
70410.
Perfect. Now, those texts will cost your donation plus your standard network message charge, and all of your donation will go to BBC Children in Need. You must be 16 or over, and please do ask for the bill payer's permission. If you'd like full terms and conditions, just go to the website bbc.co.uk/Pudsey, where you can also make a larger donation online, and you will also see the route that we are taking. You can follow a little dotted line and see where we're going. If you have a look on there, you'll see the route tomorrow. We're starting off here from Jedburgh at 5:30. We'll get to Otterburn at about 10:30, and then rounding up in Newcastle Gateshead tomorrow at 7 o'clock tonight. Please get down there if you can and show your support. Now then, we've got the rickshaw. We just need a rider. Let me look around. Who's it going to be with the 5:30 start? Salah, my friend, it's you. Listen, you can see what happens on tomorrow night's Rickshaw Challenge on the One Show. Alex will be interviewing Len Goodman. See you then at 7. From all of us here, bye-bye.
Kathy auditions for the Christmas show. Bah.